Hey everyone, welcome! Today my guest is someone who started in a village, building his first gym out of a tractor and bricks. Now he's a world star in strength sports, known by tens of millions of people around the world, maybe even hundreds of millions. His total social media following is around 60 million subscribers. On top of that, he created the most recognizable gym janitor character and makes prank videos with hundreds of millions of views.
Not too much ego, just too much weight. Oh.
And finally, he deadlifts 305 kilograms and trains with legends of the fitness industry like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Vladimir Shmondenko, though many still know you, my friend, as Anatoly. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, you film videos in a janitor costume and only 30 of your friends watch you.
Anatoly's always the star, fighting bodybuilders, kissing girls.
Oh, nice.
By now, you could have dressed up as a janitor girl, or even a janitor butterfly.
Doesn't it kind of bother you that all of this isn't really that useful?
That's actually a super depressing topic. My back really hurts.
For the longest time, I made myself go to the gym.
It's just a boring, awful activity.
Schwarzenegger. You actually got to meet Arnold?
Terminator is Terminator.
You train with him, and he respects you.
Even people his age kept showing him, holding up their phones saying, "Check out this guy. He really wanted to meet."
You got popular. Money comes to you. You have every opportunity in the world.
The audience drops off.
So in all of this time, you still haven't managed to build up a hater audience?
The moment people notice something's off, that you're not perfect, they'll come at you for it. The more money and resources you have, the more responsibility you carry.
Bro, it's been 2.5 years since our last podcast. And the interesting thing is, we had just met back then, and literally 3 or 4 months later, we recorded a podcast. You had just had that big break, that explosive growth. And I remember we talked a lot about what it's like to get millions of views, millions of followers and all that. That after all this time, you've managed to maintain this and even grow it. Because I think we've all seen tons of examples where someone rises fast, burns bright, falls, and that's it, forgotten. But you've kept this going for several years now. How do you feel about it? Like it was meant to be? Or are you actually really happy about it? What's your inner feeling?
I'd say that over the last 2.5 years, I've had to work really hard, to maintain those results and, most importantly, to somehow multiply them.
We can imagine different cases. Say someone sings songs and they can, like, today they're singing, tomorrow they've got a different music style. The next day they're in movies or whatever. What you do is this very narrow character, and it's pretty hard for you to step left or right. Basically, there aren't many variations to keep this character going. And back then I was thinking, okay, some audience will come, then you'll urgently need to change something. But you've actually stayed in this role. In your view, what's behind this? Has this character touched people's hearts and souls so deeply that people connect with this, I don't know, goodness or something? Or is it some kind of systematic work? Anyway, let's try to discuss and break down how you managed to maintain these results.
You mean why it's lasted so long,
Yes,
right?
I mean, come
And
on,
people
agree
like
with
it.
me. It would be like, imagine, a director releasing the same movie every year, right?
Yes.
Obviously, no one would watch that, but you basically have one
Yes.
in the same movie, but it keeps going.
Well, yeah, the character is always at the center. I think first and foremost, people like the character itself, right? Like specifically as a character? And secondly, probably. Also important is that the character is constantly doing different things. I mean, obviously, if I just walked up every time saying, "Can I work in?" And did a deadlift, yeah, people would get bored fast. But what's important here is that I understood from the very beginning that you need to constantly surprise people, constantly surprise with new jokes, constantly surprise with new exercises, right? So I started training like helicopters, doing helicopters and so on. I mean, you can take any movie as an example, like figuratively, Fast and Furious, right? It seems like things change there, actors change, right?
Yeah, more or less.
But the essence is the same, right? In every movie, every installment, they try to show something, surprise you in a new way. And what does it come to? What installment is Fast and Furious on now? 15 already?
I don't know, it's like 100, 135 or
Figuratively,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
135. And they're probably going to be driving cars in space now. I don't know what they'll do there. I mean, I have a similar story. Unfortunately, yeah, you have to work more and more just to get the same results you had before. But with all that, I understand that people like it. Exactly. And I really love trying new things too, because doing the same thing would obviously be boring.
By the way, interesting thing about Fast and Furious. I remember when it was just the first ones, like 1, 2, 3. They were pretty serious movies. I mean, obviously they're about racing and stuff, but still, there's a plot, real drama and all that. And with each new one, by 4, 5, 6, there was more and more absurdity. Like,
Yeah.
500 gears in the car. Then he's flying from building to building. And I remember there was one, I think it was around Fast 8. When like the Fast and Furious creators were clearly joking about the whole thing themselves. And I remember that moment where Diesel is flying in a car, and he's like flying, 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 and you realize it's just a joke at that point.
Yeah,
They're laughing at themselves, like, let the guy fly to another planet.
But I think there's a very fine line where that absurdity starts
Yeah.
and where it's still like cool, interesting, something new. And the main thing I try to do is not cross that line, because figuratively, I could have dressed up as a girl janitor or a butterfly janitor, right? And just do full-on clowning around, right? So that's why you often have to think many times over. Think many times before what to film, before posting it or not. Well,
Hey, I remember when we talked last time, it was this big growth wave where your audience was growing, growing, growing every day. Was there a moment later, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, when you realized you were on a downtrend? When all metrics were falling? When videos stopped popping off? Or did it just keep going smoothly?
100% there was, and more than one, because it's time to think, okay, what needs to change? Where do I need to analyze? Where do I need to come up with something new? Push through, make something new, right? And like, just as there were dips, right after our first podcast was the biggest growth. When we made the mop, after the podcast.
No, that was like a year later, I think, even after
Yeah,
the podcast.
basically.
That was just about a year ago, roughly, I think, right?
Yeah, we made the mop and we realized it was like a second Anatoly appeared, like a weapon.
Okay, look now. If you look at social media, like, for example, our mutual friend who, for example, works on, like, they create short videos and stuff, they really constantly say that nowadays it's impossible to create anything online if it's not by the rules, that you need this hook at the start. Then, like, plot development, and so on. Timing is really important. It's crucial that audience attention doesn't drop for even a second. When you create content, and now, having been through all this time, obviously the first videos just blew up however they did, but now you're still analyzing all this. Do you stress over it, or do you look at it through some other lens, like creative? And just think that, in general, people will like it?
Look, my team is always pushing me, especially my editor, Roos. He's always saying, bro, the retention here is at 0.0, 0.01 less. We got to do it like this. But I've always been about the principle of give it your all. Right now, in this moment, whatever you can, right? Whether on set or in editing. So like, we don't really follow that approach. Of course they exist. Yeah, sometimes we do it when we see like that a video might not be as good. We can put a hook at the beginning. Like the AI stuff now, where Anatoly starts kissing.
No, that's incredible. I don't get why you haven't started using what people have already made for you.
Yeah, well, because they're doing this, we have to do something too. Obviously, not.
They're already competing. Your own AI videos are already competing with your originals.
Yeah, that's the thing. And people are watching, okay, on this fake channel. Anatoly's already fighting bodybuilders, kissing girls, right? Because they made all these things.
Yeah.
And then we come in, like he lifts a barbell. It's like, not as exciting, right?
Yeah.
And we got to come up with something, like we do sometimes. But that's definitely not our strategy, like following algorithms and so on.
By the way, obviously during this time you've had massive audience growth. How do you feel about it? Has part of your old audience dropped off, got bored with the content, and new people came and replaced them? Or does the old audience stay too and it works as like a cumulative effect?
Look, probably what I like most is that the audience drops off and new people constantly take their place. I don't know, maybe because there's still so many subscribers, right? Like on Instagram, I can check any month and look at stats for the last like 28 days. And it's like 800 people unfollowed, 1,600,000 subscribed. And I get it. Yeah, it would be cool to keep everyone, please everyone, and so on. But you definitely can't please everyone. That's often a road to nowhere. And the second point I really like is that people who aren't into it, they leave. They don't just sit there as dead weight messing up Instagram's algorithms that everyone talks about. And new people come in and they can engage with content, buy products, because they just arrived, they're watching, they're warming up, right? And they pick something for themselves.
That's a good point, by the way, about rotation. Like, whoever likes it stays. Whoever doesn't, leaves. By the way, we were discussing that. There's this interesting phenomenon that over all this time, you haven't built up any real hater audience, right?
Yeah.
Like there's either indifferent people who just watch or fans. And again, if you look at what's happening in the market, it's pretty rare because if we take someone very popular, you almost always go to the comments. There's tons of hate, tons of negativity, and so on. You don't have that. What do you attribute it to?
Hmm, I think it's probably because, first of all, the character is very simple, friendly, positive, right? And he's never not arrogant, you know? Because often when there's some arrogant personality online, they, I don't know, flex. Flex with their cars, then watches, then this, right? There's still this factor with the audience. Some human factor kicks in, right? Something's off. There's a catch. And as soon as people notice any catch that you're not perfect, they'll immediately bite you for it. So I think that's why most of these situations happen when guys post stuff and then their own audience just eats them alive. But with me, it's like, there's Anatoly. There's a kind character. He doesn't offend anyone, doesn't do anything bad, doesn't swear, and that's why it's like that.
By the way, yeah, when there's so much flexing, I think this envy kicks in from a human side, right? People just wait for a moment where he'll slip up so they can dig into it to compensate for that envy, balance it
Yeah.
out. And when a person isn't perfect, well,
Stay humble.
yeah,
That's
and
why.
by the way, I'm also curious. I noticed wherever we go, to a cafe, anywhere, people always come up. Nobody says Vladimir, right? Everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, Anatoly, Anatoly, Anatoly. Like, everyone knows you specifically by your nickname, your character. Now, after all this time, have you developed some feeling, some kind of desire that you wanted people to know you, like you as Vladimir? Like not you as the character, but you as a personality, you as a person.
Listen, it's absolutely, for me, it's all the same. Whether they say Vladimir on the street, maybe somewhere for a fraction of a second. Inside, it feels nicer when they say Vladimir, but there's really no difference. I don't notice any difference because, for me, it's all, like, figuratively, some movie, like, when people call Arnold the Terminator, I don't think it offends him. For some reason, I think so. Terminator is Terminator.
Like, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Hey, cool, the Terminator.
Cool. Like, same with Anatoly. I'm not comparing the two characters at all, right? But the logic, that's my thinking about it, so yeah.
You're not comparing, but Arnold was impressed. Was that
we
the
move-
hammer thing?
We moved on to Arnold, right? Smooth transition.
No, we'll definitely talk about it. I'm curious because about Arnold. Yeah, it's such a cool moment that I remember the first time we recorded, you said when you were a kid, you had posters of athletes, Arnold and stuff on your wall. And after all this time meeting him, that's amazing. How do you see yourself now? As like, I don't know, a blogger, an actor, or an entrepreneur? How do you answer that question in your head?
I think probably as a creator.
So you went with the trendy word after all. Creator.
I think, yeah, as a creator and then later maybe businessman. But I really don't like the word blogger because, unfortunately, it's already so tarnished, Influencer, creator, something along those lines.
Tell me about your internal changes, because either way, like it or not, a lot has changed, right? And obviously, you had some success when you were filming in Russian. You had a big channel. And I remember you told me yesterday that, yeah, then there was a decline, and you were stressed about it.
Yeah.
But still, now, you're constantly hanging out with famous people, big names worldwide, who are also popular with actors and so on. And you have pretty broad opportunities in life. What's changed in you over all this time? Like what? If we look at you, I don't know, 10 years ago, when you were just trying to create something and trying to somehow break into this space, and at you now, what's the mental difference?
Look, I'd say my outlook on life has probably changed, and even some specific values. Because basically, when everything took off for me, both the first and second time, I was pretty young. It's not like a lot of time has passed, but still, I've already gone through a phase. When you suddenly get money, right? That phase when you're flying high, cars, money, watches, and so on. Went through the phase when everyone wants to be your friend. Went through a lot of these phases that are really important. And it matters how you get through them, how you face them, how you come out of them. And now I'm at a stage where I'm trying to figure out, probably, my core values. What matters to me? What matters to me in this life? What I really want, Those kind of, some stoicism, maybe, in a way. Well, I really like figuring things out, really like connecting with people, including people who are from, high society, English speaking. Big names. Businessmen, bloggers, actors, and so on. I really feel like it helps you grow so much, and I can see my own mindset. I mean, talking to these people, I see the mindset of myself, that kid who was 14, who came from Saluki, and I understand, of course, that it's like two different universes. I mean, the mindset that was basically instilled in me as a kid by the conditions, the place where I was born. It takes a lot of work to change something in your head. And I've already had to work a lot on it, but there's still so much work ahead.
And what do you think changes in terms of thinking, mindset? Do they come first? And then basically, because of those changes, you get results like yours? Or did it happen for you that big results, big fame landed on your shoulders, and then based on that, you had to adapt and somehow transform?
Change comes first, 100%.
So for you, it's just, changes in yourself?
Yeah.
And for example, if you look back at yourself a few years ago, before your worldwide fame and the moment it happened, what would you highlight specifically about yourself? What exactly, like, first, looking back now, what would you pay attention to? What would you push yourself on? What qualities or habits would you try to change the most?
The key thing that probably helped me achieve various results. First, you need to be a little bit obsessed with what you do. Basically, if we take all the people in the world who've achieved something, one way or another, most of them are going to be a little, quirky, to put it mildly. I mean, everyone's obsessed with what they do. This guy works his biceps. He's got huge biceps, and he's obsessed
Someone
with
works
the
their
gym.
wrist.
Someone works their wrist, let's say, right? And they love what they do. And in their own way, they're obsessed with what they do. Some make money, build huge companies, sell them, then build again. They get a kick out of it. And the same happened with me. I really love training, love lifting heavy weights. And at the same time, I really loved filming. To the point where people thought I was crazy because I remember walking around with that camera, filming B-roll around the city. Like little pedals, a train passing by, those nice transitions, those sharp cuts to make a cool edit later. And they'd look at me like, yeah, this guy's totally lost in all this.
Gone.
Yeah, drifted off somewhere. So I think that's why, 100%, always. You need to love what you do. Be obsessed with it in a way. And only then do results come.
I remember when, way before podcasts, back in 2014, I tried shooting some first videos, blogs, vlogs, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember I was super into it. I don't remember what year, but when Casey Neistat blew up.
Yeah.
And I was like, totally. Well, he did a daily vlog. A new video came out every day.
Mhm.
And his stuff was shot so beautifully. He's a
Yeah.
director, right?
Yeah.
And he has all these moments, setting up cameras from different angles, music, shots. I watched so much, and I was like, awesome, I'm doing the same thing today. I went and bought these tripods.
Yeah.
Took 2 cameras with me, sound equipment, and so on. Walked around all day, shooting stuff. I come home, load the footage on my computer, thinking, what garbage? I look at it and I'm actually tearing up, thinking, no, I'm not Casey Neistat.
At that point, the main thing is just don't stop.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for me at that moment, it wasn't about stopping or not stopping, but I looked at it and I realized Casey spent decades learning to do
Yeah.
this. Okay, but could I actually do this thing for 10 years and keep progressing? I shot for 2 days, realized, nope, totally not my thing,
Yeah.
and that's it. I'm going to try a different format, and I started trying something else.
Yeah.
But I think this is exactly the moment when you need to be honest with yourself. This specific thing, are you ready to dive into it for the next, however many years and keep progressing?
Well, that's usually decades, by the way. Basically, I've come to realize that in 10 years, whatever you do, you can achieve really great results if you work really hard at it.
Well, basically, yeah. But see, here's probably where that thirst to dive in comes in. I met up with a buddy yesterday, and he started a business dealing with fertilizers. And I remember when he was starting this business, I talked to him, said, listen, sure, it's cool, but are you sure you're actually interested in the topic itself? So a year passed. And we were sitting together yesterday, and he says, I realized that if the idea doesn't excite you from the start, then absolutely no amount of money will keep you motivated in it. So, by the way, how many years has it been since you started filming?
So plus 2, 6, 10, basically? I'd say 10. Because at 16, I started filming. My first workout videos on Android in the village.
For me, it's also been 11 years since I started filming. I shot my first video in 2014. And not long ago, there was a moment when I think, we even discussed it, remember? It was in spring, we were sitting, and I was telling you I was going through this, creative crisis, that I was filming, but I didn't feel that desire like before, that I want to shoot something. Now it's come back after some time, I took a break, but it came back to me. Well, for you, when you come in and have a shoot day, and you really have to show up, sweat it out physically, and give it everything emotionally, and organize everything, direct it all, so everything turns out the way you need it. Do you still come to the gym totally pumped and film? Or is it already, like a systematic thing? I just show up, I gotta give it my all, and it doesn't matter if I enjoy it or not.
Listen, from the very beginning, like any shoot, how's it been? For me, it was never like, every shoot is amazing for me. I'm like, gotta go film. I'm so happy. Thrilled and all that. No, like, there are always great days when you're heading there, really want to film, you're in a great mood, you want to just go hard, lift weights and all that. And there's always times when you're heading there thinking, man, I really want to call you and reschedule. How good that sounds. Like an alarm clock, And that's how you realize there's discipline. So discipline always wins here, basically. That's the only way.
By the way, I want to tell you that, speaking of sports in general, see, for you, it's not just about filming, it's also about sports, right?
Yeah.
Those are two components. And with us, I've basically been into sports my whole life, one way or another, but I always had this thing where I train really intensely for, say, a couple of years, and then bam, a slump period. I might go almost a year without training at all. I remember when we met in LA, we went to train on the pull-up bars, and that was exactly when I hadn't worked out for like a year, I think. And I remember we came to the bars, we start doing pull-ups, and I'm like, I have no strength at all. I'm thinking, damn, I'm weak. And somehow, largely because we started hanging out, I noticed that you're super systematic about it, that you never skip workouts. Since we met, just so you know, I haven't missed a single workout in 2.5 years.
Oh, nice.
Well, you already know that,
Yeah.
but for me, obviously a lot of factors came into play, but meeting you was definitely a catalyst for me to reconsider. My whole attitude towards sports, and before I used to be like, I want to get jacked, build my biceps or whatever. But now from that point, I started thinking, okay, what about the long run? Can I train consistently without ever straying from the path?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that for 2.5 years now, I haven't fallen off. And when we were recording, I read comments today under our last episode.
Uh-huh.
And probably the second most popular category of comments is about, how have you been training for so many years since an early age and still going?
Still alive.
Yeah, still alive, still maintaining these results. Because honestly, if you look at many professional athletes, they have this phase in their youth. They're in top-level sports, and then they quit, start gaining weight, and so on. For you, again, it's tied to your work. You're always in the game. What's your
Yeah.
secret?
Listen, sports is a really interesting topic. Togers and I were also discussing recently that if you incorporate sports into your life, no matter what you do, even as a hobby, you're basically set up for success because those happy hormones, endorphins and all, that's super awesome. How it works in my life, how it happened. I've never had a coach. I mean, I've never trained with a coach. Maybe I had a couple sessions where trainer friends showed me stuff. When I was prepping for powerlifting competitions, it was just to learn the technique. The technique for squatting in, reps.
Yeah.
That's it, basically. That's all. And because of that, all the results I have, I achieved them through some systems that I developed in my own head, right? Nobody ever pushed me, beat me with a stick, or told me to eat this. You need to do 3 sets of 10 squats, or else, right? And what shaped me was probably this. I made a deal with myself. Meaning I agreed with myself that I do the maximum I need. If I feel like something's starting to hurt me, it's going to harm my body, I slow down a bit. And I've carried this agreement through probably the last six years of my more professional athletic career. Yeah, when I'm already lifting heavy weights. So how does it work for me? I give myself a lot of rest when it's needed. And when it's not needed, I give myself a lot of work and basically try to do everything I can at that moment.
I think most people, and I'm basing this on comments too, most people have the problem of not being able to do it consistently at all. I mean, a person.
That's key, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for a person and by the way, it's New Year's right now, right? And most people on January 1st go buy gym memberships. Those first 2 weeks after New Year's, it's always a rush at the gyms.
Yeah.
And then all those people drop out in your view. Why? I mean, is that possible? You actually, by the way, you guys do training and programs, and you've built a lot around this. You must have asked yourselves, say, someone who doesn't work out but wants an athletic body. What does he need to understand about himself and, I don't know, sports and lifestyle to build a consistent system instead of just working out for a couple months?
Look, I think it's pretty simple here. Like any habit in life, anything you want to adopt or get rid of, you just need to make the right deal with yourself, that's all. That'll be enough. 100% for years to come, so you keep training without stopping. Like I said before, I made a deal with myself. If I need to push hard, I push hard. If I'm a bit tired, I rest. And I don't have that, like figuratively speaking. In summer, by the way, I always take it easy. Taking it easy doesn't mean I stop training. It means my workload is way lower. I can allow myself to eat stuff I can't have in winter when I'm training hard. And yeah, that's how it works.
But if let's just imagine you meet someone who, sure, he's seen sports in his life, but his body is totally unprepared, right? Sleep schedule, diet, none of that exists in his life. And he comes to you and says, Vovchik, give me advice. What do I do to get into this flow? I train with a coach 3 times, get bored, and quit. What advice would you give that person?
Do what you enjoy. If you want to train once a week, train once, but the key is do it, and that's it.
Like the key, well, yeah, let's be honest. If someone trains once a week, the chances of getting any results are pretty slim.
Then he doesn't need to train. Like if someone doesn't even want to train once a week,
Yeah.
does he even need to train at all? I mean, I just never understood this idea that I need to train to lose weight, right? I need to train to do this or that. For me, fitness has always been an essential part of my life. It's basically the same as breathing oxygen, right? Or eating food, or drinking water. So the way I see it, you first need to fall in love with this thing. I mean, like, same thing with reading books, right? Well, you basically can't force yourself to read books for a year if you don't love it. I mean, it's just a miserable activity. Terrible. You'll be sick of it from those books. Same with fitness. The thing about fitness is that, yeah, it's cool to hit the gym for 3 months, lose weight, and leave. You got abs, went to the beach for summer, hung out, never came back. But unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. While you train, you get results. Stop training, and they sort of often disappear really fast. And the whole point of fitness is that what you get from it, primarily. I'd probably say it's not even just results. Primarily, you get spirit. You get that energy and that hormone release from your workout and testing yourself. So it's better to find an approach that works for you and learn to love it.
I was analyzing this too, like the story of why I, for example, kept falling out of sports my whole life. But these last few years, I've managed to kind of stay, let's say, in the rhythm. And I highlighted a few key moments for myself. So first, I forced myself for a long time to go to the gym, like machines, all that stuff. If you enjoy it, you squat, do deadlifts, and so on. But I never liked it. Every time I went, it was like, going to the gym, and I'm like, totally forcing myself.
Yeah.
And the first conclusion I made was that the most important thing is to find your own discipline, your own sport. What I like now, for example, I played tennis for a few years, for example. And then I remember that was the moment when paddle showed up. And a huge number of my friends just massively, like everyone, started playing paddle. People who never did any sports before, now they're all playing padel together. And even though, well, I can't say it's like some awesome sport for me, like I enjoy it, but it's really cool that it's got this, like a low barrier to entry for people. That someone can just get their friends together, run around 3 times a week, and basically, that's exercise. For me, I found calisthenics and realized I really love it. So, and second, speaking of this, making a deal with yourself, I don't know how this works for you, but I started, basically, like thinking through a different lens. I was 29 at that moment, and I thought, damn, if right now, at 29, I can't do this consistently, what will I do at 40? What about 45?
Yeah.
And how do I want to look at 50? And like the most, horrible picture for me is when you come to the beach, and there's these 50-year-old guys, either like super skinny with hunchbacks, or the opposite with backs like this and a huge belly sticking out. And I look at them like, whoa, that's such a trigger for me. I really wouldn't want to look like that under any circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's possible. But I understand that if you don't do this regularly, then that's exactly what will happen. No other options. And I remember, I even wrote about this on Telegram. Like, for the first time, I'm committing not just for 3 months, but taking on a run for several years. Like, and we'll see, hypothetically, how I can do. What shape can I be in by 33? And now this journey.
Hey, so now you actually want to go to workouts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
Yes, that's the main thing. What's happening with me now? After 13 years of training, I genuinely look forward to every workout. On workout days, I wake up, eat breakfast, already thinking about what I'll do, what I'll lift. And after 13 years, I've managed to keep that feeling. So, and like that's what I enjoy most from training, like this. Anticipation, the excitement of lifting weights, the workout itself. I mean, it's really awesome, such a rush.
How do you motivate yourself? What are your fitness goals?
Listen, that's actually a super depressing thing. Tracking progress by scale weight, like by the number on
Yeah, that's
like
just
your
total
body weight,
nonsense.
right?
Complete
Super depressing
nonsense.
because when
Yeah.
I first started working out, I remember I was 14. I was such a fanatic back then, like 7 servings of rice a day. I always had Ronnie Coleman playing, like I'm there pumping up. Like some
Yeah,
other,
buddy.
before bed, I do arm workouts. So I was doing 2 workouts a day,
Wrists.
and I wanted to bulk up so bad, gain weight. So I'd like weigh myself. I had this notebook.
Yeah.
I'd weigh myself twice a day, wake up in the morning,
And
weigh
write it
myself,
down.
like 115.4. Okay, evening, so 119 pounds, okay. And it got to the point where, like, I didn't even want to go to the bathroom because my weight would drop.
I had the exact
No
same
joke.
thing. Literally the same thing, just so you know. I'd walk up to the scale every day, and I'd be like, okay, should I weigh myself? And I'm like, nah, I didn't eat much. Let me load up.
Right?
With dinner, wash it down with
Water.
3 cups of water. And then I'll go step on the scale.
Yeah.
And I'd like stuff myself, chug all this water, step on and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
nice. And then I fly somewhere. And on the plane, you lose all that
Yeah.
water. You land down 6 pounds and you're thinking,
And you're depressed.
that's it. Just,
All
yeah,
of it,
it's
right?
over. All
Yeah.
that progress gone. So anyway, how did you change your perspective on this?
Yeah, I changed my approach. Like, I found a new metric, basically strength numbers. I think it's like, for gym workouts, it's one of the most objective metrics. Probably the most objective, really. First of all, it's a very objective sport, right? Whether it's powerlifting, street lifting, or weightlifting, any sport where you lift weights, the numbers are very objective. You either lifted it or you didn't. So if you lifted 2 more
Mhm.
pounds, you won, and I lost. See, because weight, the number on the scale, how much you weigh, or how you look in the mirror, that's all very, like, subjective. So it's hard to measure any metric here. That's why for everyone coming to the gym, and all my guys, my friends, I always recommend finding motivation in lifting numbers. Like, say you came to the gym, you like bench press. Just go to the gym and enjoy it. Do bench press, track it, set a goal, like, I don't know, 220 for 10 reps, or 330 for 1. And you'll really enjoy it. It'll be a great metric that doesn't depend on whether you ate 4 times today, or 3, like, it doesn't really matter. So my main metric for progress is definitely strength.
And also, you know what else? We're all used to comparing ourselves to others, right? And I remember looking and thinking, damn, that guy is shredded and stuff. But with this approach,
Right.
there's always something where you're better than others.
Yeah.
Like, say I
Yeah.
watch you pulling huge weight and I can't even, but then boom, I look and think,
yeah.
oh, but I can do more pull-ups than Vovchik. And that's like, boom, instant motivation. And you can find your strengths in that because someone might have, I don't know, long arms. Obviously, they'll never do as many pull-ups as a guy with short arms, and vice versa. And I think there's this kind of harmony in that, in understanding yourself, like, what do you enjoy? What are your strengths? And then finding that interest. I think that's the most important thing,
100%.
right? Nice?
Yes. Oh, by the way, when I had those posters up, back when I lived in the dorms, I had a wall with Arnold on it, all those Conor McGregor posters and stuff. And I had stickers up there, I just remembered. There was always like a sticker, like 310 for 6, you know? And all those numbers meant, like, for bench press, I think, I wanted to do 310 for 6 somehow. Then I needed a goal of 440 for 5 on deadlift. So I had this 8 years ago already, you know, built in as goals, like on par with a goal of $10,000. I always had a goal, like to hit a certain bench, like 310 for 6, for example.
Cool. You know what's most interesting? You said you never trained with coaches, but I remember back in my, those times, like high school. Well, I was probably like 16, 17, 18, those peak gym years when I really wanted to bulk up. And I trained with probably 5 different trainers, and not one of them suggested this concept. Like I'd come in, they'd always say, today we're doing this for 3 sets of 10, this for 4 sets of 12, and so on. You come in and basically, well, yeah, you trained, but you kind of, like you're going because you're forcing yourself. And not one trainer offered me this mental trick like, let's see, what do you want? What's your goal? Let's come up with some challenge. Let's track this progress.
Yeah.
And that's weird. I mean, I think it all starts with this psychological hook, you know?
Great point. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. So anyway, what are your current fitness goals? Like you've got, basically, I take it you've got what's related to content in your life, where it's super important to impress people, lift something and all that. And there's also professional sports. I assume that, well, judging by how intensively you're training now, you want to achieve something in this area? What do you want?
Listen, yeah, for me, sports has been for a long time now. Since I stopped competing in roller skating, it's been more of a hobby for me. At some point, I maybe even slacked off a bit, but the last 3 years, I've been really going hard, grinding hard, because for me, it's a hobby that I enjoy first and foremost, and a hobby that my income and overall success in life depend on. Because everything I do, making videos, it's important for me to lift heavy, and the more I lift, the better for content. So I always have goals. Right now, the goal, probably the number one goal, is to pull 750. Is that right?
Your current record is 670?
670, yeah. 750 is basically 8 plates per side.
Is that the max?
Yeah, it's like the ultimate full, like, boss level, and I really, really want to hit it. And like other goals and pull-ups, too. I mostly do all this because I enjoy it. I love it. Actually, right now, I've been enjoying weighted pull-ups. Really loving them.
We've got a challenge coming, I think?
Yeah, one of the best exercises, in my opinion, for grip strength, for back, for biceps, for upper body overall, that's weighted pull-ups.
How much do you pull up now?
Um,
I saw you the other day. How much?
yeah, let me
Like
think.
100 pounds you had hanging?
I did 130 for 5.
Uh-huh. That's probably my current record. 130 for 5?
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't done that in a while. Last time I did 130 was in the summer. Just to try it for a couple reps. Haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, I'm progressing now. I want to keep adding weight, and I try to add like 5 pounds each time. Classic strength periodization.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what result I'll get to.
This 750, is it more just psychological satisfaction or like, what does it mean to you? Just look, I'll explain why I'm asking. Like, for example, with pull-ups, I'm already informally hitting International Master of Sport numbers with 55 pounds. But I'm thinking, once I do an official attempt, I'll get the certificate. And for me, it's like, you know, another life achievement. Not sure why, but it really feeds my inner state. What is it for you?
Listen, at some point, I also had this, like, I was chasing results, rankings, master of sport titles, but I already went through that, probably 5 years ago. All those masters, I achieved International Master of Sport, all that stuff for deadlift. And now for me, it's more like, not even about satisfying something inside. For me, it's more, I just like being strong. I really, really love it. Feeling strength in my arms, feeling strength in my legs, and lifting heavy weight. And like, it's really interesting to max out my potential. That's probably number one for me. I want to see how strong I can get.
Doesn't it bother you that all this isn't really healthy? Injuries and all that. Just in the time we've known each other, I think you've had 3 injuries already. One time you pulled your lat, right before we met? Then your wrist? When you were lifting me?
Yeah. And injuries always happen in the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
How'd I hurt my wrist? I was just trying, we were doing a photo where I'm holding 2 people.
I'll put it in.
I was holding you with one
here.
hand like this.
Yeah, and I apparently sat on your wrist
Yeah.
somehow, and that was it, injured. And how long? I think it took like a month and a half to heal or even more. And something else happened too. Oh, during filming with your back, I think? Something.
No, nothing with my back, ever. Like you see, the injuries are all pretty minor.
But still, like, look, from the outside, people watch this, and I always wonder too.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when you're pulling 600 plus pounds, obviously, right now you're young.
Yeah.
And you're not even 30 yet. Your body recovers easily. You take some vitamins, take whatever else, and everything heals, and you don't feel it.
Yeah.
But obviously, over 10, 15 years, as you get older and your body doesn't cope as well, all these injuries will turn into problems. Like what happened to me recently, as you remember, when I was on IVs for 3 days. My back just locked up and like, good evening! And that's when you start evaluating whether it was worth it or not. Do you think about this ahead of time?
Listen, well, high-performance sports is always a risk. Always a risk, absolutely. And you don't know what'll happen, say, in 5 years, and you don't know what'll happen tomorrow, and you don't know what'll happen in 40 years. Like, it could be that I'll be 80 years old still lifting my 330 deadlift, loving it. Or maybe I'll be rolling in here in a wheelchair and we'll be filming a podcast. I don't know what'll
Like
happen.
Ronnie?
Yeah,
Well,
basically.
good example.
Yeah.
A guy who is lifting like a ton.
Yeah.
Today can barely get out of a wheelchair. Honestly, I remember when I was a young kid watching him, I thought, wow, that's insane what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And now I watch those videos and I feel so bad. I always think, I wonder, was it worth it in his life? How much does he regret it or not? I obviously wish you excellent health. I mean, that goes without saying. I genuinely hope you stay healthy and all that, but still, lifting weights like that, the load on your spine, on everything, it's not what nature intended, not designed for
Yeah.
you to lift 600 pounds.
Listen, I don't want to use Ronnie's situation as an example here because I think he has his own issues.
Well, yeah, he
Genetic,
specifically has
right?
like genetic problems or something.
So it would be wrong to say he lifted himself into hernias and stuff. But even if we look at objective examples from sports, it's very rare to see situations where someone can't walk or has terrible back problems because they trained or lifted heavy. Usually we see situations where someone has major back problems because they don't do anything, right? And that's most situations. Most people with back pain. It hurts only because it's weak. Because they don't train, don't strengthen their back, don't strengthen their core, they have weak legs, for example, and so on. So statistically, fortunately for athletes, the data shows the opposite. Like if you train properly, of course we're talking about training smart, meaning proper technique, proper rest, proper periodization, proper exercises, right? And you're doing everything smart, not overdoing it. Pulling a dog, I was going to say.
A hunched one,
Hunched.
exactly. A
I
hunched
was gonna
dog is my
say
favorite,
something else. Like a hunched dog, yeah, in that situation. Of course I can't guarantee anything. But the statistics show you need to be doing something at minimum, right? And especially if you're building up your back, strengthening muscles, doing it regularly, systematically, and over a long period, through old age. You'll most likely have a healthy back. What do you think about this?
Well, for me, it's mixed, you know. Life experience shows it's not that clear cut. Because from my BMX days, I spent many years of my life on BMX. And basically, like all my friends who did
Yeah.
the same thing at the same time as me, we all have back problems. Mostly hernias, bulging discs and stuff. Some in the lower back, some in the chest area. I've got 5 or 6 bulging discs in my thoracic spine. Anyway, I just had an MRI literally a month ago. Nothing changed, obviously. And I remember when this all came up and my back first seized up, that was many years ago, the doctor told me, no working out. Just stretching, light exercise, and so on. And I remember I stopped training and everything just started getting worse. And then, after some time, I said, screw it, whatever, I'm just going to strengthen my back and it should be fine. And actually, looking at what happened in the following years, obviously I started living much better. I built it up and my back stopped bothering. Well, obviously, sometimes I can stupidly tweak something, like, I don't know, last time I was doing one-arm pull-ups and well, good evening. It's my own fault, I was doing it with jerky movements, basically pulled out my own back. But if we just talk lifestyle, before I could sit at my computer, and by the 3rd hour my back would hurt so bad that I'd be like this. Just so you understand, 4 years ago when I started doing podcasts, sitting like this for 2 hours behind a mic was torture. I literally couldn't sit still because my back would start hurting. Now I just sit and sit, it doesn't matter. So I understand that still. It just, it really depends on the situation. It's just scary for me watching you lift those giant bars. For me, I can't wrap my head around it. I've never done it. And it's honestly scary watching you.
Well, the key thing here is that advice from a doctor, that sounds very skeptical. Like, don't do anything, don't lift, because you'll start hurting, you'll fall apart, and all that. I think often that's exactly why people develop back problems, because they quit sports, stop doing anything. And a person who doesn't do anything, doesn't move, doesn't walk, doesn't put any load on their body, they basically, physically, they deteriorate, I'd say. So it's super important, I think, to do something. Lift. And even in your situation, I've told you before, I think that if you start doing some back building exercises, specifically light horizontal rows, starting with minimal weight, and those back extensions, plus some core and oblique work, all those hernias, bulging discs, they all get managed, they heal up, and your back can be way stronger, healthier. And basically, in 3 years, you could potentially lift 450 pain-free. Absolutely.
450, so that's the new
Goal
goal?
of 450 for 5.
When your back seizes up, just pull 450 and
Straight to 600?
yeah, and it all goes away. Well, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting topic. Sorry,
Mhm.
let me interrupt. Let the folks write in the comments about back issues, about pain, because I've noticed this pattern. Those who don't do anything, because our body is amazing, an amazing machine. Almost everything is perfect, but in terms of walking upright, we're not quite perfect, right? Almost every person who's over 25 starts getting back pain. For many, much earlier, especially now with
Mhm.
computers, sedentary lifestyle. So folks, write in the comments too, because, well, I've never met any guys who train at the gym who have really bad back pain. Usually those problems are with people who don't do anything.
I actually, by the way, you know what I'd add? There's an interesting thing. I noticed this. It's also really connected to other areas of life. Since I started training, that was 2.5 years ago, I completely stopped drinking. Like now I only might, I don't know, somewhere in the Maldives, I might have wine because I get it. I'm sitting on the beach and I really enjoy having a glass. I won't have a hangover the next day and all that. But before, I could just come home on a regular day, open a bottle and casually have some wine with dinner.
Right.
Now I always think through the lens of, if I drink wine now, I've got training tomorrow. How will I feel and all that? Same thing with food. Like you open up some wine, at midnight, you have a baguette, some ham, olives and stuff. You wake up, you obviously slept terribly because of it. Then you pile on more stuff. And you've got all this cheese and everything. You finished it all. Now when I go to bed, I think, man, I gotta not stuff myself, not overeat, so I can sleep well and so on. I notice that people who are really into sports also pay close attention to many other aspects of their life, like nutrition, how they sleep, and so on. It all works together, and vice versa. If someone doesn't work out, they can easily go to a sauna, have some beers, shrimp, crawfish, bacon, then some more. And as a result, besides their back, a ton of other things start breaking down. I don't know, stomach, and more, and so on, and so on. Blood vessels, heart, and everything. So I think what you're saying, right? Sure, it might be some extreme workouts, but they motivate you to watch a ton of other things in your life. And all of this together as a whole works a bit differently.
Yeah, basically, your body is a system you can push, right? Push in terms of strength, metabolism, various metrics, your heart function, blood pressure, and so on. Right. And here's the thing. If you're pushing it, that's all great, awesome. But if you stop at some point, and I don't know, you trained for 10 years, you were on the Olympic team, and then stopped working out, right? Your body just starts falling apart fast because it loses the stress it was used to. You've already built up a certain blood pressure, a certain metabolism, and so on. And the whole problem starts when you make sudden changes. You trained for 10 years and suddenly stopped. Or you didn't train for 10 years and came in and pulled 300. The result will be roughly the same. Really bad. Your back's gonna hurt either way.
Yeah, I can imagine me walking in and pulling 300.
Yeah.
Can we talk a bit about Lara?
Yeah.
You were telling me she decided to prep. I don't really know what it's called. Fitness bikini, right?
Yeah.
And she started basically living by the clock. Tell me about that experience because, and why am I asking? A ton of girls will be watching this too, I'm sure. And I've talked to my wife, our friends, girls often stress really hard. I eat this, I don't eat that, dieting, some trying to lose weight, some trying to gain, and so on. From a sports perspective, basically, how does this professional approach to nutrition affect your life? I just remember you briefly mentioned it's all really tough, and she ended up giving up on the idea.
Listen, at some point, since Lara and I always train together, 6 years now, we train side by side. She trains, I train. And at some point, probably about a year and a half ago, 6 months ago, I noticed Lyra started training twice as much as me, twice a day going to the gym, cardio in the evening, weights during the day, and same with nutrition, super clean eating, egg whites, chicken breast, weighing this, no fat there, fighting with waiters at restaurants because they brought everything in oil, those kinds of situations. And I started really getting into it, understanding what she was doing. I really started paying close attention to her nutrition and also her training. And the first thing I noticed was probably her physique, right? Just a machine, seriously. You look at her, her back is like this, just huge. At some point, probably in summer, when I slacked off on training a bit, when I was resting more, she was almost bigger than me already.
Taking a mirror pic, right?
Yeah, I had to Photoshop myself to not get lost in the background. Well, it's been a really great experience. Like over these 6 months, she taught me so much, right? Pushed me, I guess, to eat more clean in certain situations. I even reconsidered my own diet, right? Plus, she's really well versed in this stuff. And even some knowledge in physiology that I didn't even know that really helped me too. And it's really great when you support each other, motivate each other, and do something similar. It's awesome.
With nutrition. For me, this showed up in a different area. Remember I told you I have major sleep problems? And I basically noticed this thing, that when I started having sleep problems, I started trying to perfectly structure my life there. Gave up caffeine. Even tea I started drinking only until 2 in the afternoon, at night, don't eat this, don't eat that, and so on. So basically, I set everything up in terms of how it's supposed to affect sleep. All the supplements like magnesium, glycine, and the timing. Everything's perfect, but the sleep, basically.
But the sleep didn't get better?
Yeah, it still didn't get dialed in. And at some point, get this, I'm like, yeah, screw it. Just gave up, went back, that's it. Just stopped caring completely. Stopped thinking about it, stopped tracking. Went back, started drinking tea when I want, my favorite black tea, and that's it, my sleep started getting better. And I realized this desire to control the process, to make it perfect, apparently caused me so much anxiety and worry about my sleep that the process just got worse. In the end,
Yes.
when I just let go of the situation and stopped caring, just like that, I sleep normally, basically.
That actually works often, right? I've noticed with myself that when you have something super important in the morning and you don't want to oversleep, you set an alarm.
And you don't sleep at all.
For me, my sleep is the last time I set an alarm recently, I had a super important meeting in the morning. At 8 a.m., I needed to wake up at 7. And my whole sleep was me riding a motorcycle with an alarm going off in my head. Like I need to get up. I'm running late. So I opened my eyes feeling like I didn't sleep at all. And it's proof that sometimes you just need to, back off, to put it politely, from your body, right? And the less you think about it, often the better it goes.
Yes. All right, let's move on from training. Your training led you, to that poster of Schwarzenegger that hung in your dorm. You met Arnold and, actually, many people, I was talking to folks, telling them we're recording another podcast with Vova. They said, oh, ask about Arnie, ask about Arnie. Tell me, what does it feel like when you're a kid in a village, training with bricks and tires, looking at Arnold, and then bam! You come to Los Angeles and train with him, and he's giving you respect, posting a video with you. What does that even feel like? What does that even feel like?
Listen, probably the first thing I want to say is 100%, probably one of the best days of my life. The emotions I felt in that moment were just hard to compare to anything. Not some sports car, I don't know. Nothing I've done before compares, specifically with those emotions, because for me, Arnold, the important backstory, Arnold has always been such an iconic figure in bodybuilding, in sports, in business, in the film industry. Overall, I always thought Arnold was literally the most famous person in the world. I was sure, and even now I'm probably sure, that he's one of the most famous people in the world and one of the most influential figures who shaped a generation, our generation especially, right? So many people started working out. So many learned that bodybuilding even exists. Working out, taking care of your body. And you can look different through training, right? Because I think before the 80s, people generally thought, well, if you were born skinny, you'll be skinny. You were born chubby, right? Well, you'll be chubby, right? And this whole generation of films, these cool action movies, they really changed our mindset, left a huge impression. And so for me, it was a super legendary meeting, super unexpected. It all happened so fast.
It was random. You were messaging,
we
right?
were messaging.
Your managers were in touch, right?
Yeah. Steven messaged their manager. The thing was, at Gold's Gym, I think Steven got Arnold's manager's number. Yeah, and the thing was, if they're interested, they'll respond, send requests if you want to do something. If not, they just won't reply. And Steven messaged him hey, we're in LA right now, it'd be cool to meet up, at all. Anatoly really dreams of it. Here's our account, our social media, we do this and that. And so, if I remember correctly, this guy, the manager, responds to Steven a few hours later Arnold agreed. I've never seen him this happy. He's ready to do it soon. Super excited. He's in Austria right now, coming back, and we can meet right away. Because it turned out that Arnold doesn't use his phone, social media. He doesn't just sit on Instagram scrolling through stuff. But a lot of his friends, well, I think. Probably even his peers would constantly show him
Oh,
videos.
wow.
Just hold up their phone and say, "Look at this guy." And he really got into it. Watched the videos, really loved them. And then he was super excited to meet. And the actual meeting happened probably about 5 days after he flew in. I was driving there not knowing what to expect. Because, first of all, such a big figure. You know he might be busy. You'll meet, take a photo, but shake hands, yeah. Probably that's it, but still cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have a handshake from Arnold. I'd have that.
A blessing.
Yeah, a blessing. I'd have a photo, like, what else do you need? That's everything. A super huge goal accomplished. But it turned out when we arrived, we said hi. He's like, let's train together right now. I hadn't even put my bag down. He says, come on, do a set, sit down. We started training right away, doing arms. I'm in shock. There's lots of people around. I'm just in some kind of daze. I don't understand what's happening. Is this happening to me or not? Like, is this some movie? Super unusual feelings. Plus this Gold's Gym, that ocean breeze.
Yeah.
It's cool outside, fresh. And here's just Arnold, like, he's calling me by name. And at some point, he calls me over, and I was with my cameraman, Vanya. Vanya's amazing, best cameraman in LA. He was filming everything, getting side shots. At some point, Arnold says, hey, come here, tells the cameraman. Come film this. And you, he tells me, come here. He just hugs me, and that's how...
Yeah, this is the video you posted?
Yeah, I was in shock. He just grabs me, hugs me like a bro.
And he
like,
gives you respect in that video,
and
yeah.
he starts laying it on thick, saying how awesome I am, how you need to be positive in sports, that everyone's so gloomy. I'm just standing there in that moment. I've never felt anything like that in my life. I'm super happy. I can't believe it. I didn't even care what he was saying. I was just smiling, you know? It didn't matter how great everything he was saying was. I'm just standing there in shock, with him holding me. And of course, when I was driving home after this meeting, I was in the passenger seat, Lyra was driving, and I had some time to think, analyze this meeting. That's when I was recording voice messages for you.
I remember.
And at that moment, I realized that in this life, absolutely anything is really possible. Like, I thought back to my background. I remembered, back in the day, those posters, right? With Arnold, those movies, watching Arnold with my dad, him telling me how strong he is, those legendary movie where he carries that huge log that really stuck in my head, you know? And I confirmed to myself once again that anything in this world is possible. Like Sergei Bodrov said, anything is possible in this world. It just depends on the price you're willing to pay. And often, it's not money.
Amazing. No, actually, I remember you recording that voice message for me. I remember it was day here, evening for you, and you were driving. You were recording, and I remember thinking, man, that's awesome. I had this whole thing going through my head too, because we were discussing like, Arnold's cool. We were discussing world famous people, and bam. And I had this warm feeling of satisfaction.
Yeah.
I thought, that's awesome. I was basically really happy for you. Great. I don't know. You know how this is. Thinking about this situation, you realize how many things in life had to align for it to come together like this, where just some random young kid from like a little village out there actually went ahead and took every single one of these steps. And it all led up to this very point right here. I mean, obviously there's persistence and hard work and all of that, but how much of this was really just circumstance and luck coming together? It's definitely...
Yeah, 100% luck.
Unique.
Luck really matters, 100%. It's hard to even imagine things playing out this way, right? You wouldn't even set a goal like that. And if you did, it'd be hard to achieve. That everything happened exactly.
There are even things you can't control yourself in this specific case. What did you take from that? You realized anything's possible in life. Did you get some kind of, I don't know, maybe a next goal? What would you want next? Right now, you have major fame. You're making good money from this. Everything's good. You're making content, developing, growing, and so on. But did you think in that moment like, okay, this is the next step I want to take? Did you have any thoughts about that?
Listen, I probably didn't think in that direction because I stopped thinking that way a long time ago, wanting to meet someone or hitting a certain number. For the past 3 years, numbers and all that have taken a back seat. At this point, it's more about like actually stepping up and showing yourself and unlocking my potential. Yeah, and like, I put everything into those words. Potential in terms of physical strength, physical shape, and also media potential, and potential as a person, right? Being the best version of myself, kind, fair, persistent, and so on. So I lean more toward those kinds of metrics. And at that moment, I thought the same. I understood that, okay, this is who I am in life, and God is thanking me and showing me I'm going in the right direction through ways like this, right? Arnold, all these meetings here, um, if you just want it yourself, it won't happen like that. So it's like, a sign that you're doing everything right, and you just need to keep pushing and keep working.
Cool. Yeah. Great. It's the most significant meeting in your life.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
And now looking back, has it settled? Do you see yourself as normal now?
Nope.
Or does that feeling of
No,
being
no.
special still remain?
When I go on my account, see that Arnold post, I think,
You have it pinned?
yeah, and I'm like, damn.
That's like one part of the results you get, right? It's access to certain people, certain opportunities, maybe achieving some dreams. There's also this big part of it anyway, that you can actually make some really good money from it. And from what angle was I looking at this? I look at the sports industry, like, I'm into sports, I watch a lot of stuff. You and I watch a lot of different videos together, discuss things. Yeah, but what I understand is that the sports industry overall is, on one hand, really big. On the other hand, so competitive that it's pretty hard to make money there. In your view, is there anything in sports today where you can actually make some decent money? If we're not talking about becoming like a super, like, world famous kind of guy or something. And just through reach, you can create different products. Where's all this going? Where's it heading?
Listen, I actually think the opposite, that sports is actually one of the niches where you can actually make some money. And it's really not that hard to do. We're not talking about niches like crypto traders and so on, right? Or if you're a businessman with your own blog, because that's still pretty rare. But why is that? Because at some point I realized, okay, like I have 20 million followers. When I hit that, I looked around, looked at other bloggers, looked at what they sell and so on. And I realized that like these guys, they can't sell workout programs. These guys, they can't really sell sports drinks. These guys, they can sell supplements. Obviously, there's always like a whole bunch of other products out there that you can sell, that you can promote, and make some money off of them. But still in 2025, yeah, there aren't many such products. The ad market has changed a lot, and unfortunately, all that pays well now is betting, gambling, casinos, and so on. So I think sports is one of the few niches where there's real money to be made. Like, if you're a fitness blogger, you should be glad. You're like a fitness blogger. You've got some kind of results there. Strength results, fitness results. Doesn't really matter what it is. And you can kind of like convert all of that into actual money.
So like, what's your current structure for making money these days? Like, what's your main thing right now? And like, how does it all kind of work for you at this point?
Right now, I'd say probably very gradually, but somehow very organically. The workout program is becoming the main thing. Like, over the last 3 years, we've changed the model. And the programs themselves, yeah. And we've done a lot of work on the site, the team, and so on. But still, yeah, there's a lot of other things. We have a lot of platforms. Right now we have 3 Facebook accounts, 2 Snapchat accounts, TikTok account, several different YouTube accounts, Instagram, and like so on and so forth. And it's really great that like almost all the platforms out there have monetization now. Like, for example, what Facebook and Snapchat bring us now, I never expected. I didn't even know. Like 4 years ago, I didn't even know Snapchat and Facebook had monetization, but it's there and it works really well. So this kind of diversification really helps us a lot and makes things much nicer in some ways.
So basically, you have workout programs, you have direct ad integrations, you have platform monetization. Anything else?
Yeah, workout programs and that's probably it for now. Well, yeah, and advertising.
When you look at yourself now, again, obviously it's hard to predict and all, but one way or another, do you like kind of look ahead like 2 or 3 years into the future in terms of what you'd actually like to see happen? Like, as in like your empire today, right? Do you think about this, or do you just go with the flow and think about content and everything else just sticks?
Listen, I think at some point, I just kind of started thinking like a lot more about money and, how to actually make it. But I realized that's absolutely not my strategy, like thinking in numbers, thinking about how to convert views, popularity, primarily into money. For me, as more of a creative person, yeah, I've always liked the idea. I've always been about the idea. When I started making blogs, videos, and all, it was always more about the ideas. I liked it, I did it, and even when I wasn't getting paid for years, I was happy. I just enjoyed what I was doing, getting feedback from the audience. And it was all super awesome. Basically, it's the same now, like, Either way, I really like developing projects, developing products, and doing some side businesses. I mean, that's all great and everything, but I don't really want to put it first for now, you know what I mean? So that the content doesn't just become constant ads all the time. Because often, that road is a dead end, and sooner or later there'll come a time when you just squeeze out everything you can, right? And if your content turns into one nonstop ad, there won't be any soul left in it.
Listen, how do you see competition? Again, the fitness industry is pretty big, and there's quite a lot of trainers or bloggers out there who are making their own programs and stuff. Even the most famous bodybuilders in the world, they all kind of try to make workout programs and everything. So how do you see the competition? We just work with different people and everyone has their own customer. Or do you try to compete through the platform, products somehow? How do you think about this?
Look, well, I don't really have to think about it much because we're #1 in reach and all that. So thank God for that. We're not really competing with anyone, right? We have enough traffic, enough audience, everything's good. But objectively, you need to keep evolving. The market is super saturated with workout programs, products, apps, websites, right? Every other person has their own workout program. You don't even have to be a fitness blogger now to make a workout program and sell it But the important thing here is to always bring something new, right? And stick to your own approach. Everything on the market now is great, awesome. But I show a slightly different training method, a slightly different approach. It's strength periodization, built more on my powerlifting background, right? Where you don't have to pull 660 on deadlift or even do deadlifts, but still, the most important thing there is the system. How your workouts are structured, periodization, increasing loads or decreasing them.
Got it. Now, going back to the topic, those who offer big money. You've been offered big money too, by various types of organizations like betting companies. And, also seeing what's happening in the world and big examples, like very popular musical artists who basically totally, right, openly promote various platforms. When they come to you, you're a super mega world star. They offer big money, and you basically don't have to do much, right? Make a couple posts, some t-shirts, shoot a couple videos, drop a story, and earn insane money. And you're faced with a choice. First, how hard is that choice in the moment? When they first came to you with a huge offer, super easy. Quick?
Of course.
No.
Bring me all the money right now. Bring it here. No, of course not. Look, for me, the most important thing is walking down the street, seeing people and seeing fire in their eyes when I say hi to them, when they recognize me, and see positivity, get good energy from them. I absolutely don't want to cross my personal principles, promote something harmful, something related to betting, or other stuff like that. That one way or another negatively affects our lives. And secondly, yeah, I don't want to let people down. That means so much to me.
Was there ever a moment in a conversation where you realized they could pay you enough to never work again? Just set yourself up for life? Or did you already have an understanding of what this all means, looking at examples?
Actually, you were throwing out this idea to me back then. Bro, you could never work again for the rest of your life.
That's not what Don't twist my words. I said, bro, if they're paying 100 mil, then you take the money and go hide on an island from all the people who lost money.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm saying is, if you're going to sacrifice everything, it needs to be a really justified amount, right? Because living alone on an island afterwards is...
So, that was never the idea. Why? Because even now, if I do nothing all day, don't work at all, I start going crazy. I get bored, uninterested, And the whole philosophy of getting enough money to never work for the rest of your life, maybe in some way, that's what helps me progress, move forward, and most importantly, enjoy the progress, rather than just trying to grab as much as I can while the hype lasts, so I can lie around somewhere. That's not how it works for me.
Do you still have, moments of fear that, this will all end and you'll have to completely reinvent something new in life? Or do you think this whole thing is with you for many, many years? Just a question of in what form?
Listen, there's probably no fear anymore because I've been through a lot of stages. Yeah, I've been doing these videos for more than 10 years. I've had many stages where I crashed, where I fell, tried different formats, yeah. And looking back now, I realized that everything I came up with did well. it all took off, right? And all the new ideas I brought in. Like everything always worked out, so there's absolutely none of that. On the contrary, I find it interesting, like it's always a challenge. Moving to a new country, launching a new series, starting a new channel, coming up with a new idea, that's all cool if you ask me, super awesome.
Where do you think content is heading overall? Like right now we understand that, I don't know, if we take text, statistics say over half of all text we see online is written by neural networks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, again, we were discussing examples with you. How videos using Sora and like,
Make sure to put the videos here.
yeah, no, I'll put
That's a
this in. This is
masterpiece.
legendary. Yeah, it's so funny. I'll put these clips in. They're already using AI, using your videos on other accounts, getting millions of views. And basically, we understand that maybe not now, but in a year and a half, like anyone will be able to just create a character and, make stuff. Actually, like a year and a half, you can kind of already
Already
try
right
it now.
now,
It's
yeah.
just that like in a year or so, many more people will be able to. Create some character that will, I don't know, lift weights, fight bodybuilders, kiss
Yeah.
girls, and all that stuff that's being done now. And the competition you face will increase 1,000 times over. And there'll be some big content shift overall. Do you think about this?
Yeah, yes. Listen, do I like this or not? Not at all. Like the current trend, first of all, is short videos, right? Even without talking about AI. Like the era of short videos isn't really my thing, and given that our videos, most of them are short, right? I still prefer the real YouTube thing, with videos longer than a minute. That's the first thing. Second, regarding AI. My opinion on AI content we see online now is that it's second-rate content. Like, content for suckers. Like, I really don't like it when someone sends me a video and says, "Oh, look what happened." And I say, "Bro, that's me in there." And like, it's not real. They're like, "Oh, damn, right." I don't know people who well, I know people who are into this, but I can't understand how I could like it? And what would it take for me to subscribe to, I don't know, a channel with AI videos, right? Where stuff happens, dogs dancing and so on. I absolutely can't understand that for myself.
Basically you.
Do you like watching a dog dance?
Honestly, our mutual friend sends me these weird videos from time to time. I don't get the point. Like, by the way, I've noticed, especially in TikTok, there's a lot of this content.
Yeah.
In Reels, for example, there's less.
Yeah.
In Shorts. But in TikTok, there's just an insane amount of this AI content. And, well, the younger generation likes it, I guess. They get hooked on this stuff. For me, there's kind of no belief. Like, I look at it like, there's AI. Obviously, AI can create any nonsense. So, like, and why would it? Like, it doesn't impress me. Yeah, it's unclear. Like, I'm thinking, sure,
Yeah.
a
so
guy
what?
can lift a house.
Yeah.
I don't know, so what? I just don't have that emotional connection. But I think it's a matter of time until it's done so well that we won't be able to tell at all. Like I occasionally stumble on accounts where I can't tell, is this person an AI character or a real person? Sometimes I send it to the guys and ask, is this real? They say, no, seems like AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that realistic, and I understand the progression will just be even stronger. For example, I was thinking, from the perspective of long-form content, like if you take the simplest format out there, a podcast, conversational, I used to think about what will happen. And obviously in a year, year and a half, 2 years, you'll just open any YouTube video and it'll be in all languages. Like, simply, we talked, and it'll be in all languages. This obviously opens huge doors for content creators.
Yeah.
Obviously right now, for example, this video with you will come out in 2 languages, Russian and English, but you still have to put in effort. But in a year, everyone will just have all languages. But from a visual standpoint specifically, it's hard for me to imagine how it'll be.
Like visually 100%. You can see where someone lifts 1,100 pounds, yeah.
yeah,
Or like, I come across videos where an old man with a pig is flying on some homemade helicopter.
yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah. And at first it's cool, but then you're still like, damn, it's AI. Somehow it doesn't hit. For some reason, it doesn't resonate inside. There's no emotion anyway. And I think that's the main problem with AI content. Obviously, it helps us a lot. Yeah, AI as a tool. In designing thumbnails and other visuals where you need to regenerate something, or if I misspoke somewhere, and we need me to say something different.
Yeah.
It helps so much. It's a really cool tool. I mean, definitely, it's a really cool result in the right hands. That's the first thing you need for AI. And definitely, I think it needs more time when we're talking about content, right? Because we're to actually use it in content. I don't see it yet. It's definitely not landing.
So, like, what do you think? Which category of content creators out there is going to be like, uh, could AI development negatively impact? I mean, who's going to get wiped off YouTube, so to speak?
Uh-huh. Completely off YouTube?
Well, yeah, for example, like, I get that probably a guy like Mr. Beast, I mean, no AI won't affect him at all. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so much, it's like movies, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they'll be able to add effects, other stuff, and so on, but
Yeah.
still, right? I mean, it'll be incredibly hard to replicate. But for example, if we talk about podcasts, there's this idea that, like, in a couple years, you'll be able to open an app, type, I want a conversation about sports with this guy who looks like this, with this girl who looks like that, and then bam, the AI will instantly create it. And these people will sit there talking. You can ask them questions. They'll discuss your question.
But would you watch that? You know, maybe you can already do this now, but who needs it?
You think not?
No, I mean, would you even spend an hour on that?
Who the hell knows? It's
Watching
tough.
like two robots trained by, I don't know, Google or whatever, discussing some topics like, I mean, still.
Well, it's interesting. I don't get it yet. Honestly, it's hard to imagine how it'll work.
Who'll it affect? I think it'll mainly affect channels that tell stories. Like, for example, sometimes before bed I put on a video, like how people fell asleep in medieval times, in houses, super cozy vibes, imagery where a fireplace is burning,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Well, that's pure AI,
yeah,
right?
like snow's falling outside. And obviously the image, all that's generated. But the voice, I can't tell, like, is that me or some guy narrating? Like, super cool, such a velvety voice.
No, but AI can already do that now, if you give it some samples of text. It'll learn and can read text.
Yeah. So like educational history channels where people tell stories about history, they're already suffering from this, I think.
Or conversely, they use it to their advantage.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
maybe both.
And like, how do you kind of see your current character and everything? Our gentle cleaner Anatoly. Do you think about how you want to transform him further? How to keep the audience's attention? Or are you more reactive now? Like you see a dip, you come up with something new. Is there any planning?
That's already AI, right?
That's what I figured. That's why
For
I'm
the past
asking.
year,
I
like,
know.
I
That's
don't
why
do
I'm
anything.
asking.
I
Yeah.
don't even work out. Yeah, I see it, of course. Like, first of all, I always follow trends. What's happening right now? It's really hard to plan for like 2, 3, 5 years. What we'll be doing in 5 years.
Yeah.
Because it's important to follow the audience. For example, when everything took off, I thought, okay, I'll film Anatoly for a year. Then I'll take the next step, shave my beard. I'll create this character and make a more or less rugged character, right? And he'll lift these weights. But now I realize that, like, after 3 years, we're at 3.5 now, right? Even more, 3.5, yeah. The character's still at its peak right now. I can't even say there's any decline. There's absolutely none right now. On the contrary, a new audience appeared, higher quality audience. Americans like it way more now, since we had mostly India at first. Now Americans are really loving it. More and more people subscribing, more and more views on videos. So the trend we're putting out now, it's working. We bring something new, right? And the character's intelligence keeps growing with the viewers. Meaning, like, we get smarter jokes, you know, smarter conversations, smarter topics and stuff. We try to put, like, actual meaning into those same 40-second videos, you know what I mean? Lately, we've been trying to kind of add some message to it. Like, in this video, the message is that looks don't matter, right? Don't judge a book by its cover, for example. In that video, there's some other message, right? And so far, it's working, and like, that's great, you know? I honestly didn't really expect this character to work for this long, and I'm, you know, pleasantly surprised by it. There's definitely like some future strategy and stuff, yeah, but it's still kind of like an ace up my sleeve, you know what I mean? Fortunately.
What if you were looking at it from the perspective of someone who wants to create something? Doesn't matter if it's short or long videos, you often say you need to follow trends, what's happening, and so on. In theory, that sounds pretty easy, but in practice, when you sit down and think about what to create, it's pretty hard. Imagine someone, I think there'll be many, who'll be watching us, who are like thinking about what they could create, you know, what kind of content format they could do that would like blow up and be interesting and all that stuff. What would you advise them, you know, like how do you figure out what's relevant, what suits you, how to kind of find something that'll actually take off?
First of all, we're all different. We all like different things. The only advice here is to just do it. Just start doing it. Like, it doesn't really matter if the idea is perfect or not, you know, usually it won't be anyway. But like, you grow in the process by actually doing something, you know what I mean? You can sit forever, thinking, procrastinating, like how to film this, film that, then like, man, nobody's gonna like this, I need to rethink this idea. I need a different character, a different topic. Well, as long as it's all in your head or on paper somewhere, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. I believe you got to do it. Learn from your mistakes and find what works for you, what you like, because you'll never figure it out. What to film, what you'll like, what people will like without doing anything.
If you look at the media space overall, I think still, generally speaking, this is kind of the era of media, right? Because anyone can just quickly film a video, edit it and post it and all that stuff. And many people look at you or your colleagues, so to speak, and think that this is the perfect life setup. You created some content, you became famous, money sticks to you. You have all the opportunities in the world and so on. From your experience, let's take your worldwide experience, 3.5 years. When everything's taking off for you, how much do you think this perception actually matches reality? Is it really as easy as it seems, that I made something, I create content, I got famous, and then all the doors in my life are just open now, you know what I mean?
Listen, I think it doesn't really match reality at all, Because even just remembering myself 5 years ago, when I had some dream and everything, of being a successful blogger, making $20,000 a month, filming some content, living in a cozy apartment, having a dog, a cat, a cool sports car, and everything's great. The sun's shining, the grass is green, and you don't worry about anything. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. The more audience you have, the more money, resources, the bigger your team, the more responsibility you have. Often, to be able to carry that responsibility and be responsible. And make some very serious decisions, right? You got to grow into it. And go through a certain series of failures, series of decisions, series of tough periods as well. So that's not how life works, I believe. Even now, if I look at some guy more successful than me, I don't know, any guy, maybe Elon Musk, right? Let's look. Super successful guy, probably #1 in wealth right now and so on. I never thought oh, how great his life is, how fun, how chill, he's got so much money, he doesn't have to work. That's not how it works, unfortunately. He's got his own problems. Problems on a
Universal scale.
on a completely different level.
Yeah.
Responsibility on another level. Every word he says matters. How he looks, how he smiles. People pick apart everything, twist everything, and so on. So things work differently there.
Do you remember, over these past few years, any situation like that, Something that was hard for you? Something happened that you didn't expect, that this is how it works, and it really affected you.
Listen, I can't remember because, you see, for me, probably like most people, bad stuff doesn't really stick, kind of.
Uh-huh.
Usually, you only remember the good stuff. And even today, driving here, I was thinking, about how I'm in this interesting period of life. I'm working more, it seems. So much responsibility, so many serious decisions, some new stuff happening. I think, man, was it like this 3 years ago? I think, nah, 3 years ago was chill. But then I start remembering, unwinding it, and realizing that you don't remember the bad stuff. You never remember how hard you worked.
Uh-huh.
Say you have one brutal day, 5 meetings, 2 workouts, some super serious decisions, then some stress on top of that, something happened in the family, you know what I mean. Most likely, a year later you won't remember that day and think, oh, what a tough day. Nah, nothing tough happened.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I just ran through that in my head for a second, and yeah, that's how it feels.
Yeah, so you gotta work hard, not spare yourself, turns out.
When you're somewhere, at the edge of the world eating, and someone doesn't just come up and ask for a photo, but walks by and says, "Can I clean here?" How does that feel?
Listen, it's positive, of course. Interesting. Depends on the context of how someone approaches, right?
Well, I'm just remembering a situation.
Where was that? What
We
was
were
it?
in Switzerland, remember, by the lake, and just some guy,
Yeah, right.
"Can I clean here?" walking by.
Depends on context. Sometimes it's not entirely pleasant, but usually it just brings positive vibes.
But I want to tell you, it's phenomenal that wherever we end up, middle of the desert, mountains, or a gas station on the highway, or wherever, right? It's amazing that we always get out of the car and people just come up for photos, That's really cool. I don't know, and what's interesting is how many times I've asked you, even in real life, how do you live with this, It's really cool that you always say, I love
Yeah.
it, super positive, so great, And that's really awesome. I think that's worth a lot, given that you have this huge audience, everyone wants your attention. You still take it positively. Just so you know, last time we went to Kokoro for dinner, I've been there twice since. And that girl who made our hand rolls asked me twice, "When are you coming next time with your friend?" I really wanted a
Really?
photo with him and you guys left. I didn't have time.
Cool.
Yeah, so
I've been to set-offs twice too.
yeah, well, it's weird that she wasn't there when you went, or
Well, she probably wasn't. She wasn't there, actually.
So anyway, today I took ChatGPT, put in our last episode, pulled all the comments. And like the most popular topic in the comments, what do you think it was? You know? Like questions for you about what topic?
I don't know. I actually looked at the comments recently too. And I couldn't get to a comment where someone threw out an idea or asked something. So many comments.
Yeah, but what's interesting is most questions were about family and parents. How did they raise someone as amazing as you in a village? And how did it all happen?
Well, cool. Great question.
Shika, how did it happen that you made it, even though you had no opportunities at all? How did that happen?
Great question. Even interesting to think about. Look, first of all, gratitude to my parents for raising me the way they did. Like, nothing to complain about, you know? They instilled basic, very important values. Yeah. And probably, also. In my environment, in the village, there were always a lot of, like, antagonists. Like, meaning, I just, like, didn't want to be like, like, certain people. Because, like, unfortunately, the fate of, like, a villager, right, now in the countryside, it's kind of already predetermined.
Uh-huh.
Meaning it's either alcohol or some kind of work, like, or something related to that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I was really lucky that from a very young age, I, like, found all of that really disgusting, disgusted by alcohol, disgusted by, those drunks I saw. Yeah, people who drank, people who did hard labor for pennies, right? And I understood from a young age that I didn't want to be like that and didn't want to do the same thing. And you got to do something in this life. You got to find ways to do it, because through the internet, I saw a completely different picture. Saw that things can be different, that people live differently, a totally different life. Like the fat destiny unfolds differently. Like, thanks to probably, at some point. First of all, of course, my parents, yeah, who instilled values in me. Then probably books that really helped me. Then some internet mentors, coaches that I watched, yeah, constantly absorbing knowledge. And like it turned out that, probably I managed to like, in a way, probably like root out that village mentality, you know what I mean? Because even now, talking to my parents, at certain moments I realize that we've become very different. Yeah, I mean, sometimes my parents still think, what will the neighbors say? Oh, what will they say, right? Like, I got over that a long time ago, and it still kind of makes me cringe, like, when I hear, what will the neighbors say?
Is it really like that?
Yeah.
About what, for example?
Well, for example, when I was buying a second car for my parents, gave it as a gift, like, they were like, oh, it's so big, like, black, what will the neighbors think? Like, that we're doing something shady here, like, how's
Gangsters?
that? Yeah, gangsters, like, what people will say, and so on.
Well, yeah, I don't really think about it, but it's interesting that probably everyone who lives in this paradigm, right, of the world, what will this one say? What will that one say? And you don't do like a huge number of things in
So
life.
many people, unfortunately. Like, I think this is one of the top factors that stops you from growing, any kind of growth, right? From doing things, because unfortunately, the first thing that pops into people's heads is what others will think. So, and that's like this big thing that just holds you back. That people who don't care what others think, they do big things, they basically do what they love, first of all, what they want, not what you can use to please other people.
I think probably, correct me, how was it for you? But like, to not worry and not think and root out this idea, you need to really want something else.
Yeah.
Like, probably, when you want something, you need to have that tipping point. I want this so badly that I don't care what others think.
Yeah.
Was it like that for you?
Yeah, for me it was, and also simultaneously another scenario was developing for me that I'm super, disgusted by thoughts that like just, exactly, disgusted, that's a harsh word probably. Thoughts like, what will the neighbors think? What will they say? What will people think? Oh, these people judge me, like, these people won't like me. This person doesn't like me. Here, I'm filming a video, he doesn't like it. Like, all of that was super disgusting to me, even allowing such a thought in my head. That, like, I start thinking about pleasing someone, because, like, someone didn't like my life somehow, you know what I mean? Even though, like, why the hell? Should I care? Or should you think about, like, who likes what in your life or not? I think everyone has their own life, everyone does what they like, achieves the results they want, and, like, everyone has everything to do anything.
Also, by the way, I think there's this thing, like, for example, sometimes you start doing something, well, we can even take your example. Like let's just imagine a different scenario. So you're this guy in a janitor costume, making videos and like only 30 of your friends are watching. Probably, it might look somewhat comical, right? Like, you're there, well, what the heck? Guy in a costume dancing, 30 people watching him. But if you imagine it took off, it's like making a movie,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, you've created a brand, a character, and so on. And a lot of things like, I don't know, take an artist. There he is sitting at home, painting, and nobody needs it. Neighbors come over laughing, what are you drawing here? And tomorrow those paintings start selling for millions of dollars, and bam, it's already basically not
Yeah,
funny anymore,
yeah.
right? It's cool. And in fact, if you think about it, a huge number of things that start out comical, funny, end up in that same form, just repackaged a bit differently. They look pretty cool and
Yeah.
become, well, something powerful. So
Yeah, that's, by the way, really a paradox. I thought about this when we came up with the brand name. And like, you always sit down, think about what to name the company. Like, right? Or like, name something or other. Name. And you think, okay, what names are popular in the world now? Like, okay, clothing brands. They're all guys' first and last names.
Yeah.
Like right now, for example, name the company Vladimir Shmondenko. Well, that sounds like super cringy. Well, yeah, cringeworthy. But if that company is worth like $2 billion,
not so cringy anymore.
like, no
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
what a cool
yeah.
brand. Like, I wouldn't mind having it here, like, and embroidered somewhere. Like, this paradox of society is really something. Like, the same Anatoly, if he didn't blow up at first, I think everyone would just laugh. Yeah, dude, like, you're already 25, and you're walking around pretending to be a janitor. Yeah, well, that's, of course, cringy, like, what a clown, right? But when it gets millions and billions of views, yeah, there aren't really comments like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, paradoxical thing, really. You can apply it, I think, literally to everything,
Yeah.
right? That at the start it looks cringy.
It's just, see, again, we're back to the point that at the start, you just shouldn't think and shouldn't pay attention to these comments from outside that someone doesn't like something. They call you names like, this is cringe, this is bad, this is weird. What are you even doing? This isn't bringing success. You see, nobody's watching you,
Yeah.
right? That's what I had, right? Like the comment that stuck in my head the most. Was probably like 8 years ago. I already had like 10,000 subscribers then. I was filming a fitness blog, talking about how to eat, how to work out, just showing my life, probably, mostly. And the comment, I think I still have a screenshot on my phone, is, oh, great. I'm quoting now, right? Great? Skinny guys are now teaching us how to work out, like, or something like, skinny dudes are fitness bloggers now, or something like that. And how that stuck in my head back then. Like, it didn't offend me, probably. More like it pushed me to prove something. And like what that turned into now, I mean, basically, I'm still the same skinny guy. Yeah, I don't have like
Yeah.
much muscle. Yeah, I'm not really buff. Same fitness blogger, right? Only now completely different numbers and so on. And that comment would sound most likely comical to everyone, like he wrote that. Well, like, so what?
Well,
Pretty funny, like.
yeah. Agreed. What's your dream? What do you want in general? You still have so much time and opportunities ahead. What is it?
To unlock my potential.
And what does that look like? Well, let's try to, that's so vague.
Yeah,
When will you know you've unlocked it? Maybe you already have?
I think I'll never know. I just want to reach the maximum that you can. In a certain period of time, in certain circumstances, meaning get better in all areas. Like I found this goal for myself because it's hard to rely on metrics, yeah, on numbers, on goals like that. They always have their place, they definitely exist, metrics, numbers, and so on, but still, like, nothing lasts forever. Yeah, that's definitely 100%. And like, I realize that, everything that will like always stay with you is who you are as a person, what you know. Certain people you know, right? What you've achieved in life, what you've had in life, what you've lived through, what difficult moments you've been through, some cool moments, right? And probably that's what I put into all of this, to unlock my full potential, or to get as close to it as possible.
Which I sincerely wish for you.
Thanks.
Great talk.
Really great.
I feel like we talked about totally different stuff today. I don't really remember what we talked about last time, but today we
Yeah.
definitely talked about different things. Quick lightning round, bro. You ready for a quick lightning round?
Yeah,
Let's go. If the internet disappeared tomorrow, what would you do?
I'd still be a janitor.
A janitor who works out at night?
Yeah.
Like, biggest mistake you've made, chasing great physical shape.
I think wanting quick results, I always used to want quick results, like, for example, lifting a weight you're not ready for, or something else. Along those lines.
Nice. Biggest sacrifice you made for your success?
Youth, probably, partly. Well, if I need to explain, that I probably spent and sacrificed part of my youth, when everyone was drinking, when everyone was partying, when everyone was hanging out with girlfriends, with beer, in the dorms and so on, right? I spent on books, spent on training, spent on self-improvement.
Nice.
But I don't regret it at all.
Well, then basically you didn't sacrifice.
Well,
Main lesson you got from your subscribers?
main lesson from subscribers? Stay humble.
All right, final one. Advice to your 18-year-old self.
Don't be afraid of anything.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Bro, great chat. Awesome. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
Oh, yes.
Glad we met up. Honestly, I was leaving home. I tell my wife, I'm recording a podcast with Vovchik. She goes, didn't you just record one?
Yesterday.
She goes, God, that was just recently. I go, 2.5 years have passed.
Yeah.
She goes, what do you mean 2.5 years? Time flew by so unnoticed, but so many things actually happened, including things that brought us together and our friendship. And it's really cool that it worked out, and it's really great to see how you're progressing in your work because
Yeah.
we discuss and think about this a lot. It's like cool that you don't stand still. And like, really, it's admirable when, routine stuff, you approach it with like inspiration, looking for new meaning. You know what I mean? So like, I'm really happy for you and I wish you prosperity.
Thanks for having me. I think this is becoming a tradition for us, these podcasts, and it's really cool that we meet up. We've already met for the second time, right? After some time, we've both achieved new results, you and I. Something new happened in life. It's cool to discuss, and hopefully in a few years we'll meet again.
Yeah.
We'll be somewhere further along, higher up, with more knowledge, experience, and we'll still be chatting.
Deal. Guys, if you watched till the end, found it useful, enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, didn't like it, hit dislike. But most importantly, share your takeaways, insights, ideas in the comments. What you got out of this. Discuss. That's always the best part. See you in the next episodes. Bye-bye.